Good morning from Craigbank, Nuwara, Eliya. It's just such an amazing place to wake up. That is our bedroom of the 4-bedroom villa here, right up in the heart of Sri Lanka, temperate climate, the coolest part of the entire island, and we are in the heart of tea growing country here. I'll flip the camera and do a full walk around of the outside of this spectacular house. So this is the view that you wake up to. In fact, first I'll show you how nice the house looks here, bathed in sunlight. As you can see, it's a bungalow, so everything is over, just one floor, 4 bedrooms that they rent out. But this is owned by a Sri Lankan gentleman, and he comes here with his family in April and December. The rest of the time, he'll rent it out for people to enjoy. And what a view. I mean, it's 9 in the morning, it's 20 degrees. I was speaking to one of the workers here, and he said it does get down to sometimes freezing in the winter, but the key is it never gets unpleasantly hot here. It's got a lovely climate, and you can see they grow things that you'd expect more to see in Europe. Roses, for example. And they've got an excellent climate for vegetable growing. Again, something that you wouldn't be able to get in the really hot areas down south in Sri Lanka. They grow potatoes, carrots, green vegetables. I see people on the side of the street, and I've noticed this the further up we get in altitude. Bear in mind we're now 2 kilometers up. Every single street corner seems to be full of people selling aubergines, courgettes, potatoes, things like that. And right next to our villa, vegetable growing going on. It's so completely different to the south of the island. I mean, what a place to wake up and have your morning breakfast here. There's a gardener here somewhere making sure everything is immaculate, and he does a stunningly good job. There are also 2 workers currently just making sure everything in the house is looking good, and they're also preparing our breakfast. You can see the gardener just behind the tree there. Again, so nicely manicured. Can you imagine as well doing that as a job, getting to work here every day, just making sure the garden's perfect with the cleanest smelling air you can imagine. Lots of roses here, and I think this will be a water feature that they're just working on. And a side view of the property there. With that view, just mountain ridges all the way round, surrounding the entirety of Nuwara, Eliya. And you can see the style of the buildings. It's very European style. The reason all of the buildings look very either British or European style is because before the British came here about 200 years ago, there were no settlements at all. There were no people living in Nuwara, Eliya. So absolutely everything you see in front of me has come in the past 200 years. So if I walk over here, just the weather it couldn't be nicer. It is stunningly nice. You can see all of the buildings down here. They look really, really European style. We could easily be in the Swiss Alps, an alpine, a ski resort somewhere in Europe. And all of the hills around here traditionally, these would all have been hills for pastimes such as hunting, but also down in the heart of Nuwara, Eliya, there would have been cricket, rugby, and tennis being played. It was a real, not just place where people would come and enjoy, but it was a sanatorium type town where people could come or would come for their health benefits. This temperate climate lends itself very well to healing people and for the health-giving properties that it allows. There would have been fox hunting, there would have been deer hunting, and also there would have been elephant hunting here. Lots of elephant hunting. There's a golf course somewhere down here. I haven't quite located where it is. And in the corner of the golf course, to the best of my knowledge, there's a grave, and it's a grave of a British major. And that British major infamously killed over 1,400 elephants in his various hunting trips throughout his life. His grave is in the corner of the golf course, and local legend has it, once a year a lightning bolt strikes his grave as punishment for all of those elephants that he killed. I'll zoom in a bit more to the town so you can see that, with the mountains surrounding the town. In fact, the highest peak in Sri Lanka is overlooking Nuwara Eliya, but you can see the very European styled buildings here with, I can just see what I think is the gold top of a mosque. You do have mosques dotted around Sri Lanka. I think it's 10% of the population are Muslim. And then down here, the workers bright and early. I was up at about 7:30 and they were all here working on this little vegetable production patch. Ceylon tea, Sri Lanka tea, thought of by many as the finest tea on earth from right here. I mean, that's what it says on the Sri Lankan tourist board website, but it really is delicious tea. All around us here, we are surrounded by tea plantations. I mean, I'll be honest, I don't 100% know what a tea plantation looks like, so I haven't knowingly seen one yet, but we are genuinely in the heart of the area. That's what largely makes this part of the island famous. Breakfast we just had, all local produce, and just sitting in there, it's this bit of the building jutting out, sitting in there with a view of the garden, it's a fantastic way to start the day. The plan for the day, we'll go and explore a bit of Nuwara Eliya down there, have a wander around, and then maybe 1 or 2 in the afternoon we'll make our 3-hour drive. I think it's slightly northwest from here in the absolute heart of the island, and that's to the town of Kandy. We'll spend a day in Kandy, we'll spend the night in Kandy, and after that we're then going to our final stop of Sri Lanka before heading home, and that's Colombo. So today, 3-hour drive off to Kandy. The town itself, very, very much a working town. You've got street sellers just lined all along the pavement, selling a mixture of, the vegetable selection is incredible, and you have to think it's all grown probably within a mile of here. Gooseberries, courgettes, aubergines, carrots, just kale. You can see all the farmers around, and then they're literally selling it on the street here. And then you've got other street sellers selling clothes and things like that. So it's a very, very bustling working town. This place that we found, Duchan's, I found this on Google Reviews yesterday. Exceptional reviews. It's all proper homemade food, and you can actually hear them bashing away the pots and pans in the back there. We had dinner here yesterday. It's exquisite. It's got a very, very unpretentious entrance, so you wouldn't think anything looking at it from the outside, but this was completely packed yesterday. We're actually lucky to get a table, so I very, very highly recommend it. It's traditional Sri Lankan food as well, which I've just recently discovered. Exquisite. We ordered 2 pineapple juices, and literally we've just seen the owner pick one of those pineapples up and take it to the back to make the pineapple juice. I mean, that is as fresh as you can get. I don't think I've ever seen such lush, fertile land being used so brilliantly here. It's just all around farming. It's literally farm to plate, all probably within the space of a 1 mile radius. Famous tea plantations. So we stayed somewhere over there in Nuwara, Eliya. You can see just the edge of the town leading all the way down into the bottom of this valley type area, and all of the people here working the tea plantation. To the untrained eye, like mine, they all just look like bushes. I wouldn't bat an eyelid thinking, oh, this is a tea plantation. But these people all know exactly what to do. They're all picking very specific leaves, so they clearly know the leaves that are right to be picked, and they leave alone the ones that aren't ready. I mean, this is seriously hard work because they're on such steep slopes, and they'll be working all day, bag of tea leaves on their back, picking away. Once they've filled their hands with tea leaves, they then put all those handfuls of tea leaves in the back. And I think every single person here that I can see is a woman. Every one of them. So clearly ladies are the preferred workforce for tea leaf picking. Beautiful setting. And this is, again, I've said it before, but one of the world famous tea production, tea growing areas in the entire world, right in front of us here. Welcome to the outskirts of Kandy. That was about 3.5 hours. I didn't look at the exact route before we left, so I wasn't fully prepared for this. It's 2.5 hours to get from Nuwara, Eliya, where we were, 2 kilometers up to here, Kandy, which is the old capital of Sri Lanka. But we only covered 73 kilometers. So that's something like 28, it's something like 30 kilometers an hour or something, basically with snail's pace. They were some of the best roads I've ever driven on, but going back and forth for 2.5 hours solid, even I driving started to feel a little bit car sick. And we were going along and there was a man who was in a tuk-tuk and he just threw up straight out the side of a tuk-tuk. It's honestly some of the most stunning scenery I've ever seen in my life, but you do need to stop off a few times just to compose yourself. £60 a night, right on the edge of Kandy. This has only just been built a year ago. Classic Sri Lankan service. They really are a very, very hospitable bunch. I think it's brilliant. We're right on the edge of town, which is about a 20-minute walk in that direction. But on a beautiful street here. Have a look at this. Really quiet street with lovely old buildings just lined the whole way up, and it feels like we've gone about 300 meters up in altitude. The car was seriously struggling getting up to this point. We're going to head off for coffee, but before we do, I'll see if I can show you a view from that direction, because there's an infinity pool there and the view leaning over to Kandy is spectacular. So this is classed as a boutique hotel because I think there are just 4 or 5 rooms. You can tell it's been all freshly done. Pictures on the wall, all new doors, windows appointed, fresh coat of paint. And then down here, there's a kitchen area. So you have to tell them 2 hours before you get here if you want them to cook for you, and they will cook your dinner, which will take them up on. Little seating area here, and then if we come out here, this leads out onto a beautiful infinity pool area. And these are the hills surrounding Kandy. Absolutely stunning. I'll try and zoom in a little bit more. There we go. You can see the mountain range covering everywhere, and just a few houses and nice apartments dotted all the way along. In fact, there's one behind us as well. Just parked the car up there. Luckily they've got a few spaces, so I'm going to leave that here because I've done enough driving today. We're going to get a tuk-tuk and use that to get into town. You know, this was the exact hotel that I wanted to stay at in Kandy. We were just walking past and I noticed there was a little old 1950s style bar sign just peering through an alley. So I thought, let's go in here. And it turns out, I think it's called the Queen's Hotel. This is exactly where I wanted to stay.
I know why.
I wanted to stay here because of the character, the old world charm. Monika said, no, we need something a little bit more modern. And I will admit that it's stuck somewhere between the 1950s and the only thing giving away that maybe it's the 1980s here is that TV in the corner that cannot be older or cannot be newer than maybe 1988, 1989. But it's got charm. Monika, have a look at this. Pan over to your left here. You've got a fully stocked bar, immaculately dressed barman, and of course, Sri Lanka's sport of choice, cricket on. Any cafe, any coffee shop, any bar, any restaurant you go to, if they've got the TV on or the radio on, guaranteed it will be the cricket on. They are cricket crazy. Monika,
Yes, please.
shall I mention what happened?
Yes, please.
Monika was nowhere near me, she was 5 meters away, so this is all on me.
So I had no idea what's going on. It's all you.
I was at a crossing on the road,
And one more thing to mention, you like chatting to people, to anyone.
I'm going to have to stop chatting to people.
Yeah, you have to
honestly,
stop
because
chatting.
people keep trying to con me. So I was about to cross the road, and a gentleman comes up to me and he said, "Shoot, you recognise me? You recognise me surely from earlier today, from the hotel?" And I said, "No, I'm really sorry, I don't." And he said, "I'm the cleaner. I'm the cleaner at the hotel." And I said, "Oh, okay, great, that's good." And he said, "Oh, you probably, look, you don't recognise me because I'm not wearing my uniform." And I said, "Oh, okay, maybe that's why." And he said, "Where are you going?" And I said, "Oh, just going to a restaurant." And he said, "Do you like linen?" And I said, oh no, hold on. I said, "Yes, I like linen." And he said, "Maybe you'd like Sri Lankan linen. There's a market down here, and it's only on once a year, and it closes in 10 minutes' time. Why don't I take you down to the market? You can have a look at some Sri Lankan linen trousers." So I said, "Look, I'm not really in the market for linen trousers, but I will admit that Sri Lankan linen does sound tempting, so maybe I could quickly pop in." And he said, "Great, come with me, I'm going there now." So long story short, he marches me down to this market. We're almost at sprinting pace, so Monika can't keep up. He's pretty much trying to separate us.
And
so
I lost you.
Monika lost me. I don't know if she filmed any of this madness. But I followed him into this funny little market. He went past all these market stalls. And just before he got to the final market stall, he said, "What's your name?" And I said, "Freddie." And then he said, "Great. Yes, this is Freddie and he wants some linen trousers," to the store owner. And I thought, oh no, this is a repeat of Mumbai. I then had to just calm everyone down and say, "Look, I didn't say I'm buying some linen trousers. I just said maybe I could have a look at the prices." I then refused to buy the linen trousers and everyone got in a temper, including this guy.
Because I came and I found you there standing with a handful of linen trousers.
Yeah, I'm not joking. There were 6 linen trousers thrown in front of me and 8 different linen shirts. And they were saying, "Tell me the price you'll buy it for, tell me. This guy had now stormed off because I refused to buy anything and left us in the middle of this strange back alley marketplace. I still couldn't quite figure out what was going on because it was all such a haze. And then Monika said at the end, you know he doesn't work at the hotel. You know he's not a hotel cleaner. He's just a con man going around Kandy speaking to tourists because he knows, look, there are some tourists. They're definitely going to be staying in a hotel, so I will say I'm a hotel cleaner. And of course, they'll say, "Oh yes, I'm in a hotel." I almost got conned. I didn't spend a penny, but that's just a word of warning. Honestly, be really careful because if you're anything like as gullible as me, you need to be like having your wits about you with anyone trying to talk to you because this has happened a couple of times to me now. And it just so happened when it's on a filming day that I'm sharing this with you, but be really, really careful because a lot of the time people have an ulterior motive for why they want to speak to you. It will lead you down a path. But it's fine. We made it. The end of our road trip. Colombo, the capital of Sri Lanka. I'm so sorry. I really wanted to film a bit more on Kandy, but we ended up getting there really late at night. And then someone tried to scam me. And then after scamming, all I wanted to do was just have a beer and chill out. And then in the morning we left early because it was a slightly longer drive, 3.5 hours from Kandy over to Colombo than I thought it would be. And we wanted to get here with a bit of sun. I mean, take a look at this. Perfect way to end our time here in Sri Lanka. Frontline view of the sea. Buses parked down there and the railway line running all the way along the coast. And we've just been watching for the past day, people running, physically running on the train line, trying to catch up with the train and then jumping onto moving trains. It's like action hero type films. It's just this is their everyday bread and butter to get onto these packed trains. The road trip. Sri Lanka in general. It's rare I've been somewhere where you can be riding or driving for 3-4 hours at a time and it's all completely untouched, beautiful scenery. You're not going past town after town after town on road trips. It's literally 2 to 3 hours of seeing nothing but stunning, untouched scenery. It's almost boring, it's so beautiful. It just goes on and on and on. The roads are unbelievable, and if you decide to get a train, that's also a very good mode of transport as well. But the interesting thing on top of that is the pricing. You see, when you're in India, when you're in Goa, 80 to 90% of the tourists, when we were in Goa, are Indian tourists. So they're Indians coming for a weekend away in Goa, for example. And with that, it means they keep the prices competitive because Indian tourists know what a fair price is for food and drink. Whereas I don't know if Monika and I specifically ended up picking the tourist places here in Sri Lanka. We didn't specifically mean to, but there are two completely separate markets here in Sri Lanka. There's the tourism market and the local market. I mean, you're going to be paying close to European prices for food from what we've found here in Sri Lanka. And for example, if you go to a national park, it's about £40 entry for a foreigner, but it's about 60 pence for a local here in Sri Lanka. So there are two completely different economies, and that means the pricing, definitely for food, is more expensive. Well, that's it. 5 magical weeks in 2 beautiful countries. Thank you everyone for watching and coming along with us over these past, I think it will be about 10 videos we'll have made, and we have absolutely loved every second of it. There's there's a rooftop bar upstairs, so we're going to go there, grab a cocktail and wrap up our final evening here. Tomorrow's flight, this is a really positive thing. I didn't realise that this would be the case. Tomorrow's flight's at 1 p.m, but it's a direct 11-hour flight back to Heathrow, so it is so convenient. Monika, I'll wrap it up, pan over to the sea. Thank you so much everyone for coming along. We'll see you back in England in the next video.